Yo, what's going on everybody? Suro here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the roadmap and more specifically the hint that they gave us as to what is still to come later this year in regards to, the book that we saw. So we're going to take a look at all of it in just a minute, and I'm going to throw out my theory of who or like what universe the upcoming content could be based around, and I have a theory for if it's going to be a good person or a villain, and I really hope you guys stick until the end of the video, listen to everything I have to say, and then we can speculate down more in the comment section below. But there are a couple things that I've seen a lot of people pointing towards, and we're going to kind of debunk a couple of those in this video as well. Now, if you guys do enjoy this video at all or any of my content, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Only 67% of people that watch my content are subscribed, so make sure that you are one of them. So let's jump into this, and quickly, just a quick disclaimer. This is just my theory. A lot of members have been wanting to know what I think, and so none of this is set in stone, concrete. It's just my theory on what I think, and I will definitely am open to hear anyone else's theory as well down below. So let's just jump into the roadmap real quick. So before we get this conversation started, let's take a look at this roadmap. And like I said, this right here is the main thing. This is what everyone is wondering, like what this hint is referring to. So we have a showcase stream that's set to be about in November. It says tune in for plenty more announcements coming later this year. This was the only hint that they came from. Again, I have a theory about who this could belong to. Is it good? Is it a bad spell book? Is it a storytelling book? We're about to find out in just a moment, but we need to figure out a couple of key things from the newsletter first. So up first, this little paragraph right here is very important. They said later in the year, we'll bring you another exciting showcase where we'll reveal some big surprises still to come in 2024. Hopefully the teaser and the roadmap will tide you over. So it's what we just looked at. That right there shows that beyond the roadmap, this little teaser is referring to content coming out this year, so nothing related to 2025, or at least not, kickstarting it. Another important thing is they said this: recent surveys have played an important role by providing us insight into what you'd like to see in DLV, and in 2025 is already shaping up to be a year full of exciting surprises. So they're pretty much saying that 2025 is already set in stone. Like they already have their updates listed, the characters they're going to bring. And the recent surveys, I feel like, is what they're trying to get advice and stuff for 2026. So I do believe that the developers, for the most part, have a plan for at least the next year, and then going forward, they want to implement some new stuff. So obviously they want to be a little ahead of the game by 6 months or a year, and I do think that is what they have planned. So in regards to the survey, what was one of the questions they actually asked? This one right here is very important. So they said, which franchises would you be most excited to see added to DLV in a future game update? So we have Alice in Wonderland, the Muppets, the Jungle Book, Cinderella, Aladdin, Winnie the Pooh, Snow White, Pinocchio, Cars, Emperor's New Groove, so on and so forth. So I guess you could try and take some hints from this survey and think, well, if they're asking us for pretty much like 2026 and beyond, then that means that these universes here, these franchises, are not in the content for this year, or even potentially the next 6 months of next year, if they're doing a whole expansion. I don't necessarily think that's true, because they could just throw anything in here. And then if there was like franchises that were missing from stuff they asked us before, I don't think that really matters either. They could definitely have content already planned for, say we're getting Winnie the Pooh, right, in 2 months or so. They could still throw it in here in the survey and just kind of trip us up a little bit without revealing too much. I mean, Gameloft is pretty smart. They wouldn't want to like completely remove the ones that are definitely coming out this later this year that they want to keep a surprise. So I'm not sure if this is really going to matter at all, but at least these are some franchises they do have on their radar, which is really cool. All right, so with all that stuff said and cleared up, who does this belong to? Well, I have a couple minor theories I've heard going around. One of them is like Winnie the Pooh. Some members think that this could be in regards to like the 100 Acres Woods. I don't see it. Now, I will say this book doesn't necessarily mean this is a spell book. In fact, it actually looks like it's a storytelling book based on the writing and everything in here. So that's why I said we have theories for good and bad. This could be a spell book, and a spell book could also be good or bad. But this isn't entirely sinister, you know. It does look like maybe just some storytelling, but then you get down to these candles, which do make it seem a little more sinister. So Winnie the Pooh is a pretty good guess. I could maybe see them doing that, but I don't think so. I don't think right now Winnie the Pooh is coming to the game. So then, if you actually look at the book, is there any books in Disney lore, anywhere, that have like a red ribbon, these candles? Well, yes, there actually is one book that I have found, and I've done tons and tons and tons of research. I've watched recent films, I've watched older films, I've done a lot of Disney like research over the past year. And there's only one book that really calls out. And that is this book right here, where good boy Jiminy Cricket is actually opening the book for Pinocchio to do a little storytelling, a little narrating, you know, at the beginning of the film. We do have a candle here that's lit. The book does look pretty similar, and it does have the red ribbon. It's also got like a little brass like lock, like a little latch, one right here and one right here. So could Pinocchio be coming to the game within the next, you know, few months or in the remainder of this year? Possibly, but I really don't think so. And this is what the book looks like when it's open. It's not a bunch of words or anything, and of course this is just the first page, so I mean, it could be. So you guys can decide if you think this holds, you know, some strong evidence as to what could be coming to the game. So if we're here to assume that this is not Pinocchio, this is not Winnie the Pooh, what could this be like referring to then? The whole general vibe of it does kind of scream Merlin, right? The Sword in the Stone, maybe the Black Cauldron type of vibes. And you can get that based off of it does kind of look like a spell book too, but we also have all these sparkles. So if this was a little sinister, a little evil, I'm surprised this book is like encased with brightness and sparkles and everything like that. And these candles are actually candles that you see in the film as well. Now, also, if you look at the actual stand here, this little wooden stand, which does give off like medieval vibes as well. But we have a bunch of these books down at the bottom. And the only thing I could find about this was this picture here. In one of the scenes from the film, you can see Merlin does have one of his books here. And then down here at the bottom, it does look pretty dang similar to the stand that we just saw, except it's obviously not like a propped up for a spell book or a little magical book or anything like that. But the wood, the color's pretty much the same. The books down here are pretty similar. And then, of course, you know, just the whole time period and everything, it is giving off those kind of vibes as well. Maybe we're getting some sort of sword and stone related elements coming to the game. So overall, I would say, given the candles, you know, the like tree-like stand, the spellbook design, I would think it would be most likely associated with Merlin from, you know, the Sword and the Stone. Merlin is obviously a central figure in the movie. We already have Merlin in the game, and then he's also known for his, you know, magical abilities and everything like that. It has a very like rustic and mystical appearance. This book, I feel like it does, at least, and it does align with like the whole medieval and magical atmosphere of the Sword and the Stone. So we could be getting some storytelling elements and a little side story related to that. So that is my one like theory for the good. It could be related to Merlin in some way. But what I truly think this could be pointing towards is actually the Evil Queen. Now, I know a lot of members have been thinking that this is related to Maleficent. There is nothing about this teaser here that screams Maleficent. The colors, the vibe, the sparkles, the little tree branch. Maleficent doesn't even technically like have a spell book that you see in the actual movies. I mean, you see it in like The Descendants, but if we're talking about OG at Disney, you don't really see Maleficent with a spell book. And her spell book has like a dragon imprint on the front. It's a black. It is not like a royal type of vibes like this at all. It just, nothing about this is Maleficent. And I also don't believe that they're going to use Maleficent just yet in the game. In most games related to Disney, they always save Maleficent for the end. Some of the final updates. Maleficent is like the big bad. It's the ones that, you know, she's arguably the most important and the most popular villain when it comes to Dreamlight Valley. And I don't believe that this is her time to enter the game yet on just a random expansion. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, especially with the characters that we're getting, you know, Timon and Pumbaa, and then we're getting Sally, and we haven't even finished Skull Rock's storyline or anything like that. It just, none of it makes sense. I think they're going to save Maleficent for down the road, updates down the road. I just can't see them burning through one of their most important characters and updates so early on in Dreamlight Valley's lifespan. So with that out of the way, I can most certainly say Maleficent is not coming to the game during this update. I just don't see it. Now, how could this be the evil queen? Well, I mean, if you just take a look at it, it's definitely like royalty vibes, the book is. And of course, she does have a spell book. The two characters in Disney that are most well known for having a spell book is the Evil Queen and Merlin. I also think this branch right here kind of looks like the branch of an apple tree. I mean, even the big leaf here, another leaf here, and then we have like what looks like the stem of an apple. It could be referring to, you know, when the Evil Queen goes out there to get an apple to poison it. The book itself, it does fit her type of royal vibes as well. So the gold accents that are actually on the book, I feel like could symbolize royalty and opulence. It's very aligning with the Evil Queen's regal, just overall look. And there's also like a sense of dark elegance that definitely fits her persona with the candles and stuff. Now the books down here doesn't really make sense, and the stand itself doesn't really scream Evil Queen to me. That's why I also think it could be Merlin's type of thing. But at the same time, they usually showcase the villain first in the games, like a little teaser. That's what they did with Jafar. So if we're assuming that this is supposed to be for a villain, I feel like it fits her pretty well. Now we have the red ribbon, and then on her outfit, it kind of has, she has like the red stripes and the ribbons as well. This is what her actual spell book looks like that we see in the film. It has the same white candle. Literally, the candle is exactly what we just saw. The book is a little different, but it still has the same type of vibes. And then here's another shot of the Evil Queen as well. Same with the candle. This is when she's down there getting ready to create the spell and stuff. You can see a little stand right here where she has her spell book. She has deep knowledge with it. She has like the little red ribbon on her outfit that could be a little teaser or a hint pointing towards it. So it's hard to say. So out of those theories, let me know what you guys think. Could be Winnie the Pooh, could be Pinocchio, but I doubt it. Those are like down on my list. And then for good and bad, we have like just a Merlin storytelling type of vibe. And then on the evil side, I think it is going to be, you know, Snow White type of vibes. Could you imagine if they add Snow White to the game? You know, they said that they were going to use these expansions as part of just like little side stories. So I don't think they're going to burn through Maleficent on a side story either. And again, Maleficent just doesn't make sense to me at all. So it has to be the Evil Queen. So those are my theories. You guys let me know down below what you think. And another thing I wanted to point out is we have this over here. So we have Sally coming to the game, right? Late 2024. It says stitch a new mystery together. While that's all exciting and sounds amazing, what I'm more interested in is the background. It looks like we're finally going to have access to this like fireplace that you actually see in Jack's house. I actually made a video on this a couple of days ago about items I want added to the game. So it does look like a player house, and the windows that's also in Jack's house. And it would make sense that Gameloft is going to reuse some assets to give us like probably in Scrooge's store when this update comes out. Maybe that's why they were holding on to some of these items. You know, we have like this desk and everything here as well. So I do think that's going to come in Scrooge's store in December, and along with the window and probably maybe his floor that you see in his house. So that's just something I haven't really seen anyone talk about at all. Overall, this looks pretty good. You know, we have Tiana update, which looks great. We're getting a brand new restaurant in the valley. We're finishing off the Jafar storyline, or at least, you know, for the Rift in Time expansion. We got Timon and Pumbaa coming to the game as a small update with major like quality of life improvements. In November, they're going to tease off of this. Hopefully we'll get more updates very soon. They're going to tease off what this is all about, and it should kickstart a new new expansion in December. It sounds like that's what they're going to do, just like they did last year, especially with them saying that this is a hint towards big content coming out this year. They said this year, not next year. So I think we're getting Sally, which is the equivalent of Jack last December, and then the equivalent of getting like the Jafar storyline. We're going to get a new one, which is probably a new big bad, which is why I think maybe Snow White type of vibes come into the game, which would be very, very cool. But would they tie like a princess like Snow White behind a paywall? Maybe. Now I will say you will have to buy the expansion, obviously, again. So if you bought this expansion for Rift in Time, when the new one comes out and say like December, you're most likely going to have to pay again. It'll be about $30. So just a heads up on that if you want to like save up some money and make sure that you can get it. That is when I think it's going to be. Now, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video and hear what I think. I could be completely wrong. Nothing, you know, again, nothing about this is concrete. I could be 100% wrong. That's just what I feel based off that one little image that we have there. And also, I mean, the sparkles on the book, they just look the exact same as the sparkles for the good characters. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm very, very excited. Thank you guys again for watching the video. Hope you have a really amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.